But whenever I just give people the facts about it, they're like, my day is just too crazy to have a plan. And they almost say it like, I'll just leave that stuff to you. I know what I'm doing by not having a plan. Okay? Or they'll say, my day is I have so many obligations that I really can't say I'm going to do this, or this. Remember what Warren Buffett said? Okay? The most successful people are the people who say no almost every time. But they give me all kinds of reasons, and I think this is the most basic rule, is that failing to plan is planning to fail. So we all need to plan for time management. But don't let everything become complex, because for most of us, you're going to be starting something on a daily basis as we go throughout that you've really never done before. So to make these shifts, we have to keep it simple and keep it easy to do. And we're going to do that. Just make sure you don't make it too difficult on yourself. There's 2 universal rules that we want to keep in mind, because we're trying to keep it simple, and there's really just 2 things you have to know. Here's the first one. The first one is we have to have a system, okay? Having a system means that, oops, I didn't actually put them up there. The first one is having a system, and having a system means that we have something on paper or digital, preferably digital, that we use in order to keep commitments, appointments, actions, projects, outcomes, communications, follow-ups, empowerments, all of these things. And that system cannot be your brain. That system can absolutely not be your brain, and you will get that without any shadow of a doubt. There's all kinds of research on it by the time we're done here today. So number one, you just have to have a system, and hopefully we're going to take care of that part today. It just can't be your brain. And then number 2, and this is really critical, and it's really the only thing that you really must do. There's lots of things you can change or make up your own plan, but you absolutely have to have an anchored command central. Big thing to say. Now, what do I mean by that? Okay, anchored means that there's only a few times in our lives when things are fairly set in terms of time. In all of our lives, it's like universal, and it's usually, what's something we all have to do roughly at the same time? Eat, that's one. What's another one? Get up, okay? So basically eat and sleep. We basically do those 2 things at roughly the same time. Now, having an anchored command central, I'll explain the command central part here in a moment, but the anchored means that you need to anchor your time management, because there are daily things that you do. You need to anchor that to something that is already in motion or in force, okay? Now, that can be whenever you have noon lunch break. That can be preferably, really, it's right before you go to bed at night, because that's generally fairly anchored, or right when you get up in the morning. Now, for the past roughly 8 years, I have a system that I use, and it's the very first thing I do in the morning. I'm actually making a shift this year, though, and I am going to experiment with doing it the night before, and I'll explain why we're going to do that here in a moment as well. But it's got to be anchored. So honestly, if you didn't learn anything else today, or if you left right now, if you know that I just have to have a system, I have to come up with something where it's not in my head, and then I anchor a specific time of day to use the system. If you want to talk about keeping it simple and not overloading yourself with stuff, these are really the only 2 universal rules with time management.